Welcome to Earth's Mightiest Weirdos. Mark, it's like I just saw you.
I know.
How
we
long
all.
has it been?
I feel like we all just saw each other.
Well, Mark Valentine, welcome fresh off of this Diz Live. Good show tonight.
Stressful. Yeah, that was stressful.
Yeah, we got to move that show up just a little bit.
I know. Good times.
Good. Mark Adams, how you doing tonight?
I just realized how awkward that was that you were talking to that Mark and not Markie Mark. And I'm just going to sit here like the awkward guy in a movie where the pretty girl waves, but it's not to him. And he's like, oh.
Fair enough.
My Peter Parker moment.
Hey there, Peter Parker.
Hey, Peter Parker. You got something for me?
Rob,
I mean, that was awkward, Bryan, but I think I handled it. So
handled it fine. And welcome to our first and foremost, thank you to Ethan for his time as a weirdo. We wanted to thank him. He is moving on to a wonderful new job. Ethan is hopefully going to be able to join us as much as he can in the comments, but while he's transitioning to this new job, he just can't make the commitment. So he is tapping out of Earth's Mightiest Weirdos, but we couldn't run with just 3 weirdos. We had to officially enshrine a new weirdo, and that is Daryl from the warehouse.
I just figured I was on staff now. Valentine told me I had to wear this.
It's true.
Oh, that's a wonderful shirt, Rob. Welcome.
This is from the NBC store in Rockefeller Center.
Your world's best boss mug is in the mail.
Feeling hot.
Had to make. That's the only one that I had available to me. So
there you go.
Welcome. It is Marvel Week. We just got done talking on this Diz Live about Avengers Campus. I want to go around the horn real quick. Rob, tell us what you think of Avengers Campus.
I'm excited to see it. I've been to Disneyland. I was familiar with it's Bugs Life land, so I know exactly where it is, and it makes sense. The Spider-Man animatronic is the thing that blew me away the most. The stunt robot. I guess it's beyond an animatronic. But yeah, it looks great. I can't wait to get out there. Hopefully over the next year or so.
Yep, I'm going next May. I'm kind of locked in to go in May, so hopefully we can get into Avengers Campus there. Mark Adams, I know we talked about it on this coming week's United We Fan, but give people a little preview as to what you thought of Avengers Campus. From what foodie, none of us have been, obviously.
The foodie in me is really excited. I will probably even buy that $100 sandwich. It's a serving size of 8. I say to you, challenge accepted. The Spider-Man ride, I'm there for it. I hope when I go, I'm able to do it since it's boarding windows. Don't get me started on that. I'll probably even shell out for the upgrades. I know a lot of people, that's a hot topic, but I'm like, hey, if you don't want it, don't buy it. And thank you, Shop Disney, for having several Avengers Campus items already on sale so I can buy in advance and not have to bring back a whole luggage full of stuff. So thank you.
My daughter's very excited about that. I'm sorry. Mark Valentine.
Yeah, that is some excitement. So we just got done talking about this on Diz Live, where we preceded this for about a good 20 minutes that we talked about various elements of it. It's hard to talk about everything in 20 minutes, so we tried to give it the old 30,000 foot view, but I've come to the realization that I can't be hypercritical of it because 1, I haven't been there, but 2, it's for kids. It is a land for kids. The phrase that I used over at Diz Live was Galaxy's Edge is for the 42-year-old kid in me who grew up with Star Wars from the 70s. Avengers Campus is for the little children. It's for the children who want to live their superhero fantasy and their superhero dream. And Markie Mark.
Thank you.
He's a child.
Yeah.
So it's a different vibe. Like, I'm into it. I want to do Mission Breakout, which I know precedes the campus. The animatronic looks cool. The shows look really cool. I love the Pimtech food. Looks really fun. Like I'm always the guy. Like I should be 900 pounds because I love food, and I want to eat all of the food. Mark and I are going to go and take down that giant panini.
Yes.
Mark, you've never been to Disneyland either yet, right?
I have not. We were looking at going in the fall, so we're looking at a September trip.
You'll be blown away, and I highly recommend the fall because they do all their fall activities. The Nightmare Before Christmas in the Haunted Mansion. You're gonna be blown. Cars Land is amazing. You have no idea. You're just gonna be blown away.
Yeah. We were on the fence when they opened it up. So we were thinking about doing the summer. We have a DVC stay planned at Copper Creek and Wilderness Lodge, and then we also have a comped room from Disney that we're going to use to stay at the Polynesian. So we've got like 2 trips combined into one coming up in August. And we thought to ourselves, what do we do? Do we go out to the West Coast? And I said, listen, let's give it a little bit more time. Who knows where California is going to be in their phased reopening at that point. So if I'm going to make the trek to the Mecca of Disney, I want it to be fully operational. Like
if you like Wilderness Lodge, you're going to love the Grand Californian. It's the greatest Disney resort that exists for me
in mankind.
But there is that Marvel hotel that they just opened in Paris. Continuing with our Marvel-tastic week, we're going to go back in the opposite direction. Mark Valentine, Loki begins in 30 hours. Are you going to watch on Wednesday, or are you going to save it for the weekend?
Oh, no. I will be watching at
before
4 or 5 a.m.
Back to our Mando days.
Yes. We're going back to the Mandalorian days where I will be watching Loki before the sun rises.
I'm going to step away for just a moment.
It will be happening. What about you, Markie Mark? Are you going to be waking up before the sun? I know that when it came to Mandalorian, you kind of said, I never again. I want to enjoy it at my own pace. But will the sheer excitement get you up at dawn?
So I have a confession. These are my confessions. Anyways, Mandalorian didn't get me to. Thank you, Rob. Mandalorian didn't get me to wake up for it. I tried it with WandaVision so I could be one of the cool kids with my fellow weirdos, and that's when I was like, no. So, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier, I waited till I got home from work, and then luckily Marvel. I had a private meeting with Kevin Feige, and he.
Wrong.
Brian, I wanted to test you guys. You don't know this, but I did it right yesterday, and Brian was so proud of me.
People don't know us; they're going to think we're not really fans.
I know. So I had a talk with Kevin over at Marvel. You might have heard of him, and he decided to move Loki to Wednesdays because he knew I was off on Wednesdays. So I can't thank him enough. So thank you, Kevin.
Kevin Feige.
Or as he will explain, Kevin.
I'm definitely watching Wednesday during the day. I am free all day. Mark is actually my date for a wedding at night, but during the day I am free. So I am. Yeah, it's Wednesday night. It's Wednesday nights.
We could watch it and then go, Rob.
Yeah, let's do that.
You can't believe I wasn't invited. All right, gentlemen, Loki. It's going to be exciting. Let's get into tonight's topic. We are following up our Marvel Madness of Phase 1 and 2 with Phase 3 and the Avengers phases. We're going to pick our favorite scenes, ranked in order of which to, one, start conversation and make you mad at me, and let's go from there. I did believe that every film was represented. Looking at the bracket now, Ant-Man and the Wasp is not represented, and I don't feel that bad about it. So we're just going to move on.
Wow.
All right. So
let's go
fair.
to the movie.
It's fair enough.
You just ghosted it.
Time out.
All right. Well, let's get into it. So first and foremost, we have our number 1 seed, Killmonger's death scene, spoiler alert, at the end of Black Panther, versus I Have Come to Bargain, Dormammu. I have come to bargain when Doctor Strange just sticks him in a time loop. Mark Valentine, you look like you have an opinion on this one.
I have a comedic. I am going to cast a comedic vote for Dormammu. I Have Come to Bargain, if only to see Dr. Stephen Strange impaled in an infinite loop of times. Like it's comical the amount of times and the pain that man goes through in order to save the world. And if Killmonger dies once from a stab, Stephen Strange really gets the shaft. So I'm gonna vote I'm gonna vote for it. I know he's gonna lose, so I'm just gonna cast.
Mark, I'm gonna be honest. Before you do a joke vote, I don't think you know these two guys on the bottom of the screen. I think you better be careful here because
I'm not changing it. I'm sticking with my vote.
Okay, you're gonna be disappointed, I think.
This can't happen. You guys cannot allow this.
I hate that we're starting here, and I hate that this is my first official show because I feel like we're gonna get into it on the very first vote.
Mark, go ahead.
Oh, God.
He's been taken off air, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, Rob, I forgot to ask you. Is that shirt going with your new sizing preferences that I saw on your TikTok?
Believe it or not, I know you're going to make a joke, but I'm actually slimming down because I have to for reasons. But we'll talk about that post show. But
okay.
But this is actually a medium that I'm fitting into rather nicely. So I'm losing weight. Thank you.
Look at Patrick, come to bargain. So here's the thing.
And yes, please put your vote in the comments because if it comes down to a tiebreaker, then the comments do break that tie.
So if we had this matchup shortly or the same night as our villain conversation episode that we had,
to avoid,
I would have, just to poke some bears, I would have voted for that bargain thing just to fire some people up.
Those people being me, by the way.
I mean, there was more than one.
Ethan was my co-pilot on that kamikaze.
We are not reliving this.
I don't remember the last time someone got me that fired up. You know what? I want to hear Rob's thoughts. I know my vote. I want to hear Rob's thoughts.
I'll tell you my thoughts. I love the come to bargain scene, and I'm going to tell you why. Because that is where the Ancient One had told him the thing is it's not about you. And this guy died. I forgot what they said it was. I think somebody actually did the time at one point. How many times that actually happened? That is brutal. That was like an eternity of this character coming to fruition. It is one of the most selfless things a character ever did in any Marvel movie. One of the most selfless things. I am not taking anything away from Killmonger's death. Part of me hates that Killmonger died in the first place because I feel like a little bit of better communication there. Maybe that wouldn't have happened.
Ooh.
I'm telling you, I love that Doctor Strange scene. That is one of my favorite Marvel scenes.
He should have when he zagged.
Bryan, now this is favorite scenes. The Killmonger death scene is one of the most well-filmed scenes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I really enjoy the come to bargain scene.
Wait a minute. Did this just happen?
Mark, I told you don't put a joke vote. I knew where me and Markie Mark had a feeling.
It was a joke vote, but I believe in it. I believe in it. I thought I was going to be the reason I was like laughing is like I'm going to go first because these guys are going to laugh me out of.
No way, man. I'm a huge Doctor Strange fan, and I feel bad going in my heart.
Doctor Strange is in the next one too.
Come on, Bryan. Count them.
Is it seriously 3-1?
It's 3-1.
I think it's 3-2. I think the fans voted for Killmonger.
I'm keeping an eye on the YouTube.
We are going to get people to leave. Oh, I can't believe that just happened.
Yay, Amy.
Hey man, Amy's there too.
Yep.
I don't know if that death
is as big as I would
love to
this is University of Maryland, Baltimore County over Virginia, 16-1. I can't believe that. Okay, fine. Moving on.
One shot. It had one shot, and it just did it. One.
I just am so upset. Okay. The number 8 seed Challenge Day versus Doctor Strange meeting the Ancient One for the first time and him saying to teach me.
Challenge Day.
It's Challenge Day. Just everything. Baku. But yeah, it's like all the rituals and everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not my fault that if you don't remember that.
I didn't call it Challenge Day.
I'm gonna be salty the rest of the night.
I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead, Mark.
Tribute. I will go again first. I'll be out in front of this. Challenge Day is one of the more visually stunning fight sequences of anything in the MCU. In the waterfall, It's intense. The pageantry of it is really cool. I felt almost instantly that I was brought to that culture and that history of Wakanda. It's one of my favorite fight sequences. I like the fact that they stripped themselves of the power of the Black Panther in order to fight mano a mano as men. That to me it's really cool. Like Challenge Day easily is gonna overshadow meeting the Ancient One.
Can we wrap this up and all go home? Mark Adams, go ahead.
God, you've already forgotten me. You have forgotten me, Bryan. I am going to go when Doctor Strange meets the Ancient One. I think that scene should have won it a Best Visual Effects Oscar, and I'm upset that film lost. Challenge Day was a lot of fun. I loved how it was filmed, but I just enjoy when the Ancient One's like goes, looks like he can have a little bit more, and just keeps going into him, and then you have the little hands at one point. Little hands. So, meeting the Ancient One.
Mark, can I give you a little bit of a hot take here, though?
Go for it.
While Doctor Strange was really cool, I felt like it smacked of Inception.
I won't even did that. Which one? Oh yeah, Inception did come out before it, right? Yeah. Okay. I don't blame you. I think they definitely were inspired by it, and now that you said that, I definitely see it. But I mean, it's Inception. Yep. I know Bryan doesn't think as highly of Inception as I do, but if a movie wants to be inspired by Inception, go for it.
Well, I'm not saying it was a terrible decision, but I didn't ooh and ah over any of the visual effects in those sequences, because to me Inception had kind of beat it out of the gate.
I definitely see it in the beginning when they're folding the city in the beginning of Doctor Strange. I definitely see it. Yeah, I see that.
I feel like it did it better visually though. Like maybe that's just the Marvel shill in me, but like visually they're pretty comparable. I don't know. Fair enough. Rob, how about you? Challenge Day versus meeting the Ancient One for the first time.
This is a rough one for me. The transformation of the Doctor Strange character from quite literally this scene to the one we just talked about is so amazing to me. He was so sure of himself. He knew everything at this point. He knew everything. And here comes this little bald woman that knocks him out of himself and turns his world upside down. I love the Challenge Day. I love the fight sequence. I love what it is. But the Ancient One is such a stronger scene. It's a stronger scene.
Bryan.
Okay, well, Challenge Day wins in the comments and wins with me. I'm not allowing Black Panther to be eliminated in 2 in a row.
Rob,
Alakazam says, where is it Inception besides the mirror realm and the bus and the city scene? Those two spots.
That's kind of what we're talking about,
when the city folds up upon itself, that to me, that it would have been more visually stunning if it didn't kind of smack of Inception a little bit. It's still very effective. I'm just saying I didn't ooh and ah over it the way I would have if I didn't have Inception kind of precede it.
I ain't mad about it.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
We're going to start the next one with Mark Adams, the 5-seed Yondu's Funeral, versus in the same film, the best musical performance in a Guardians film, in my opinion, when Yondu gets the fin back and we listen to Come a Little Bit Closer while the arrow just destroys everybody on that ship, including Taserface. We're going to start with Mark Adams.
Man, this is actually
occasions. Yondu's death could have been more heartbreaking.
It could have been more devastating.
I'm ready for this one if you need a second.
Bryan, can I phone a friend? Can I phone Piano Road?
Yeah.
Come a little. These are great scenes. Come a Little Bit Closer is so far above it to me. Yondu getting his weapon back and just killing all those freaking people like that and taking control is amazing. To me, it's equivalent to like Thor getting his hammer back, man. That scene is phenomenal. The funeral is great. I am so glad they gave him the funeral he deserved. But that scene of him just knocking everybody out, that's the scene.
Bryan, I'm sorry, but yeah, Come a Little Bit Closer. This is based on favorites. Yondu's Funeral is beautiful, but Come a Little Bit Closer. When that song like starts off quieter and then come a little bit closer, loud, loud, loud. I'm just like, oh, I'm so there.
Okay. I do love it, the part at Yondu's funeral when Baby Groot's like, I am Groot, and Rocket's like, he did call you Twig. I love that part so much. Mark Valentine.
I'm a sap here because Yondu's funeral is one of the only times that I get a lump in my throat in the Guardians films. Between that and the scene that he shares with Quill when he says, he basically like, he wasn't your daddy. Yeah, like the father thing. The way that they set up Yondu and then he dies, like he got a real big redemption real quick, and it was just like almost immediately after we get the emotion of the funeral. I mean, it's more fun, but like which one do I probably enjoy more, or which one will I probably stop what I'm doing and watch? Believe it or not, it's the funeral for me.
Funeral for me as well, especially when I think the key person in that funeral scene is Kraglin, when he gets so emotional when Sylvester Stallone and all the rest of the Ravagers show up and he just can't contain himself and he's pounding. Oh man, like Kraglin's reaction is what makes that scene for me. Come a little bit closer does win because it wins in the comments as well. So we've got some new people showing up. Amanda's not new. Amanda's definitely representing her Thor. We've got Robert's here. Alex is here. Leslie Lowry is here. Just everybody, Facebook user, if you're showing up as a Facebook user, somebody who left this comment right here, go to streamyard.com/Facebook so we can see who you are and see your picture. So come a little bit closer does move on.
I like it.
Yay.
All right.
Upsets.
I'm not upset. It doesn't upset me. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying we got some upsets.
Is my personal favorite, would have been the 1 seed if we went by all of my favorite scenes, is the car ride with Vulture versus the appearance of the Spider-Man suit for the first time.
I've run out of patience. On to Ruse! Nice job, kid.
Captain. Big fan.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Just
Hey, everyone.
good job.
I love the appearance of Spider-Man under Ruse. Big one here. I'm going to cast my vote for it now because I don't want to change my mind. The car ride scene and the way Michael Keaton acts that scene out, and just everything when you see the traffic light turn green in that Vulture green color lights up his face when he has the realization that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. That scene is the best acted scene of any of them. Mark Valentine, go ahead.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter Parker. I sorry, I had to do it.
Get our chance later. Don't worry.
Yeah, the reveal of Spider-Man in the MCU it's been paying dividends since. It's a real fun scene. It's a real fun sequence. But just I love the way that the MCU has reimagined Spider-Man just from that very minute. The banter, he captured in that scene without any real work beforehand. He really captured the essence of Spider-Man in such a way that he has won his way into all of our hearts. Under Ruse for me, gentlemen.
Hey, everyone.
Mark Adams.
It's funny we brought up this scene because I was just talking about it today, how that was a scene in a preview where everybody just erupted. I remember it, and then I also remember the memes where it was like Captain America looking sad. It's like when it's your movie, but all anyone can talk about is this guy. I felt so bad for Cap. But yeah, I'm gonna go under Ruse.
Rob.
Both great scenes. Vulture, by the way, is my favorite on-screen Spider-Man villain to date. Michael Keaton is amazing and not taking anything away. But Spider-Man, with all that star power, he stole everything about that scene in that Civil War movie. He took that whole movie to another level by adding him. And the way he came in to take one of the most iconic characters' shields away right from the start, it's got to be under Ruse.
But Bryan, I'm glad you had this scene in there. I love this scene.
It's a great scene. I'm not mad if any of these lose, by the way, either. That's just my opinion.
One of the biggest surprises Marvel's pulled off is that Vulture was Liz's dad in Homecoming. Like when he answers that door, there was audible gasps throughout the audience. Like it was just so good. I mean, under Ruse, the fact that the eyes do what the eyes do on that Spider-Man suit, The airport scene is absolutely not included in this because the airport scene is 17 minutes start to finish. That does not count as a scene. Our next one is also going to be from that same airport scene. All right, Under Ruse moves on. This is the day of upsets.
Wow.
Is it though? Is that an upset?
I mean, by numbers.
Vulture for me. Alakazam, Vulture for me. We already saw Under Ruse in the trailer. I think Alakazam, though, even though it was spoiled and we knew he was coming, it still lived up to the hype. Like, how great is the scene when it was already spoiled by the trailer and it still paid off? Like, that to me speaks of how.
And then we even revisited it in Homecoming. That's how great it was.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I don't know if the trailer spoiled it for me. Like, I think it did a little bit because we saw the suit, but just the way it fit into the film, it was great. We're going to move on. Like I said, one of our next airport scenes, we do have Giant Man.
Does anyone have any orange slices?
Versus Sharon's speech about don't move. I can't remember the quote, but the speech that Sharon gives
at the funeral
of Peggy Carter's great niece. Cap goes through many emotional challenges around that, and it results in a very awkward kiss. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to start with Rob.
Ooh,
spicy.
Sharon gives us a great speech, but as far as Captain America movies goes, it wasn't one of the best speeches for me in that sense. I know we've discussed this before. I love Emily Van Camp. I don't connect with her in that role. Giant Man, freaking great. That was great. It was a game changer for that part. I love the joke of the orange slice line afterwards. I'm going Giant Man.
Does anybody remember that really old movie, Empire Strikes Back?
How old is this guy?
When you talk about things being spoiled from the trailer for Under Ruse, like Giant Man was not a secret whatsoever, and it still came off as cool as when he rips the wing off of that airplane. Mark Valentine, go ahead.
If I'm being honest, I'm never watching that speech and saying like, wow, this is a great scene. It's there. And I love him. You know how much I love Emily Van Camp. We don't need to go into Everwood and how much I love her. She's amazing. But I'm not watching that scene. Her character doesn't connect with me. Giant Man is a fun sequence. It's a fun scene. It's comical. Paul Rudd kills it as Ant-Man. I love Paul Rudd. Thank you. Orange slices.
Alex says that the speech is straight out of the Civil War issues. I didn't realize. I don't think I knew that. That's pretty cool.
Really? That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I knew it, but I don't know. Like, I don't know it. You know what I mean? Like, I take it. I need to be reminded of it. Let's put it that way. Mark Adams.
I love Giant Man, and I don't know why it took me a while to notice Spider-Man crawling all over him at one point. But
he gets on his feet.
Something you and me.
Sharon's speech, though, that speech is one of my favorite ever written in a comic book, and when I got to see it interpreted on the big screen, it really connected with me. This one can't go without a vote, so I have to give Sharon's speech, but this one there's no lose, but Sharon's speech for me, I love it.
Way to go, dude. I like that. Sticking to your principles. I dig that.
There's two of my favorite lines that come out.
Are you saying he's not moving?
Nice. There's two of my favorite lines that come out of Civil War when he's Giant Man. Like, and Mark, you just said, like, something just flew in me. Like, that's not even one of them. One of them, like, when Paul Rudd laughs when he goes giant, like, that's amazing.
Oh.
Yeah. And then the part where Tony's like, does anybody on our side have any fantastic abilities that they want to share with the group or whatever? Like, it's just so freaking funny. Well, gentlemen, moving on.
Does anyone have any orange slices?
We're going to move on to the next one of the three. Captain Marvel telling Jan Rog that I have nothing to prove to you versus the criminally underrated, and I will say it, the criminally underrated T'Challa on the astral plane in Black Panther when he tells all of his ancestors that they were all wrong for abandoning Killmonger and leaving him in Oakland, and just everything about that entire scene. Mark Adams kind of looks like he has his mind made up.
Yeah, Black Panther, easy.
Rob?
I'm with you. Black Panther on this one. I think that was a much more powerful scene. It just was.
Sounds good. No arguments from me. The next one, Cap Tony and Bucky fight against Peter Parker and saying, "Get up, Spider-Man," after Vulture drops the entire building on him. He looks at his half face with his old homemade suit. Really, really cool scene. But the Cap Tony Bucky fight is also really powerful. Favorite for all the wrong reasons. Mark Valentine.
That Cap Bucky Tony fight is another one of my favorites. I've said this on numerous early episodes that I always gravitate to the world of Captain America. I like that. I like the fisticuffs. I love that style of the fight, and then the emotion between Tony Stark and Cap at the end when he's, he was my friend, I was too. It's just like, rips my heart out. I mean, that fight it's not just a great action sequence. It's emotional. You can feel the rift in the Avengers at that moment. You can feel it break, and it leaves you devastated. You don't feel good at the end of that movie. You don't come out of that movie feeling good. That's because of that fight sequence. Yeah,
I want to jump back to this real quick. Stephanie says that she does vote for the Black Panther ancestral scene as well, but I don't want to gloss over this, that from a female's perspective, that Captain Marvel scene is very important. It was a 3 seed for a reason. I can absolutely understand that, and I think it would have won many other ones, but going up against that particular scene means a lot of different things from another standpoint as well. So
Chadwick Boseman's like emotions in that scene just took it to a whole other level. So yeah.
So Mark votes for Cap, Bucky, and Tony. How about you, Mark?
I have to go with it. That scene where the camera slows down as Tony does his blasters at Cap's shields, and Cap gives the line, "I can do this all day." And just when Tony even says, analyze his fight pattern. All right, got it. All right, let's kick his butt. That scene easily wins for me.
Yeah, and it gave us a visual that came back big time in Falcon and Winter Soldier with the shield over the head and throwing it down, except Steve put it into Tony's arc reactor and not their face. Rob.
I'm with you. I won't add anything on the Cap, Bucky, Tony thing. That has my vote. The Get Up Spider-Man is a great scene. I'm glad Peter had to realize I got to do it all by myself. He had no help there. I thought that was great, but it doesn't beat that other scene.
I just wish that that fight wasn't going up against Cap, Bucky, and Tony. Like I would have voted for it to progress in another matchup. It's just I have to go with my heart.
Phase 3 is where this gets really difficult, because in the last one, like, it was kind of picking between 2 of your favorites, but there was one clear winner. Like, this one's really, really difficult.
Everything's developed now, so this is much more. It's more fun too. These last 2.
Yeah. Well, moving on to,
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
From one of the greatest films ever in the MCU for me, Ragnarok is a top 5 versus Mysterio's reveal with Ralphie from Christmas Story and Barf and just everything about that. I do know some people that were genuinely surprised that Mysterio was a villain. Good for you. I don't know how you didn't see it coming, but regardless, I think that scene is really, really cool and tells in a greater expanded story of the MCU altogether, especially in bringing Barf back into it and him being ashamed of that name. I think Mysterio is a great villain, but I mean, Thor versus Hulk, it doesn't get much better than that.
Taika Waititi is a genius.
Yeah, Mark, go ahead.
It's easily Thor versus Hulk. Now, when I first saw the scene, I was like, oh, cool. Then when I analyzed it, I'm like, here's Peter Parker in the spider monkey suit, not caring that he's showing his identity to everybody in the bar. And he's just, I got frustrated with him giving up the glasses. So I don't know. The more I watched the scene, the less I enjoyed it. So easily for me, it's Friend from Work.
Well, I mean, he was going through a lot of emotional stuff. Like, yeah, okay. We'll break that down when we have No Way Home coming out in December. Stephanie says that the Friend from Work, especially because of the backstory of the line. Does anybody else know the backstory, or should I tell that backstory?
Yes, tell it. It's a good one. I like it.
There was a kid from a Make-A-Wish Foundation that was visiting the set that day, and he's the one that wrote the line of "He's a friend from work." He was his idea. They put it into the film. Really, really cool. So moving on.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Rob, right. I say that whenever I see you playing.
We almost named this show that. There was a small chance it was almost Friends from Work.
I remember that.
Should we move on to the Avengers, or should we stick with Phase 3 and finish that up?
I think let's finish it. Everybody's already there.
Yeah, let's finish it.
Dormammu, I have come to bargain versus Challenge Day.
Wait, could I, before we get into that, could I just say I'm really sad that we didn't get this.
Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Cork. I'm kind of like the leader in here.
I'm so upset we didn't get that.
No need to be afraid unless you're made of scissors. Little rock, paper, scissors joke for everybody. What does that do? And it doesn't do anything unless you're trying to kill 3 vampires that are huddled together.
Oh, tell me everybody got that reference.
I didn't get that reference. I just thought it was a funny line.
Yeah.
What we do in the shadows?
Oh, yeah, I guess it was from that. Yeah, I didn't realize the reference until now.
Watch the movie. One of the best comedies ever written.
It is great. It's a great show, too. Okay, so, no, I'm sorry. Come to Bargain versus Challenge Day. Mark Valentine.
Oh, man. Challenge Day.
Thank you.
Challenge Day.
Mark Adams.
Come to Bargain.
I have a vendetta against Come to Bargain since it knocked out Killmonger's death. Rob.
I know you do. I'm definitely going Come to Bargain.
That doesn't surprise me at all. All right, so we've got Challenge Day. It's 2-2. We've got Challenge Day, Come to Bargain. How did Come to Bargain even make the list? Alex wasn't here when we started. So we'll give another few days. Challenge Days looks like it's taking a lead. Come to Bargain. Oh, it's coming back. So we'll give that. Challenge Day. It's 4-2.
I wonder if a lot of the people
4-3.
voting. I feel like people have watched Black Panther multiple times. I wonder how many times people have watched Doctor Strange, because that's one that the more I like, you watch it a couple of times, it's so intricate. I don't know. It was a real surprise for me, that one.
Can I have a?
We're in the comments. You're determining the fate of this round, so make sure.
Can I have a music nerd moment right now?
Sure.
I'm really sad that Danny Elfman is going to be scoring Doctor Strange 2 when Michael Giacchino's Doctor Strange score is so beautiful.
Yeah, but
I'm a little sad.
Wow. Mike just put, I think that's a tie. Isn't that a tie?
it's 5-4 now.
Do we need to come back to this?
Honestly, it's great that it's this
come back
close. It really truly is.
I think
Frankie.
So I mean, with the director change, it's not as surprising. Like, Sam Raimi works with Danny Elfman fairly regularly, so it didn't surprise me that Michael Giacchino was out.
They're all great too, though. You're arguing about they're all superior. You know what I mean? There's a couple of them on that level.
I'm not a huge Elfman guy. Like, I'm not.
Elfman's starting to get repetitive with his recent stuff.
See, when I think though, from Batman to Nightmare Before Christmas, like I don't know, I love Danny Elfman, man. Pee Wee Herman.
It was not easy, but Challenge Day moves on.
Oof. Okay.
Number 12.
This is Florida. I want to recount.
From a little bit closer with Yondu's Arrow versus.
All right. I run out of patience. Underoos!
Underoos. Mark Valentine. This one I think is easy for you.
It's Tom. Yep. It's Tom Holland for me again. Underoos. That scene, that airport sequence, the beginning of that airport sequence was a lot of fun. I love me some Spider-Man.
Mark Adams.
I'm going to fight. There's Spider-Man.
Found him.
Forever.
Here he is. Rob.
Wow.
I hate to see Yondo go so soon, but let's be honest, his funeral went so soon, so I'm going Underoos.
Jeez. All right, moving on.
Does anyone have any orange slices?
Versus Black Panther saying all of you were wrong. Very different scenes tonally, for sure.
This is a hard one.
Yeah, I feel like if I vote the wrong way, like I feel like I'm a horrible person.
Wait,
There's
I missed it.
there's
Rob,
no wrong.
Rob broke me. What's the challenge?
Giant Man versus all of you were wrong. The ancestral plane from Black Panther.
Oh, dang. Oh, my God.
I feel like if I vote for orange slices, I'm a horrible human being.
Mm.
I do. Like, it's just, they're two totally different scenes. They're totally.
Have you guys ever seen Beverly Hills Ninja? Because I picture Chris Farley when he went to the astral plane falling through that whole scene with
It's been a while since I've seen that.
So it's favorite. It's our favorite scene to watch. Come back to me. I still can't vote. I'm sorry.
Rob.
I don't mind saying it. Orange slices. It's a funnier scene. I know the other one is heart wrenching, so I don't want to make it like Rob's a terrible person. But that airport scene is awesome when he becomes Giant Man. I'm going to watch that so many more times, even though the other scene is more powerful on an emotional level, which it is. I'm not taking anything away from that. The Giant Man is more fun to watch.
Mark Adams.
Black Panther.
I'm also voting for Black Panther.
I'm voting for Black Panther.
It moves on.
So now I'm the bad guy. No.
Oh no, you're good.
You're not a bad guy, Rob, just because you're a bad guy.
Rob, the reason I say that is now knowing everything that we know about Chadwick Boseman, I think is really like I've watched that movie so many times since his passing. It just gives me such an appreciation and a love for him, not just as a character, but like he was suffering in silence, and like I gotta go with Black Panther, man.
Can I slightly off topic, but on it, and I think it's worth saying. If we knew what was going to actually happen in real life after that movie, I would have loved to seen Killmonger not die, and then have some type of maybe even
right now.
Stephen Bucky thing, and then if he transferred into a new Black Panther role, I would have loved to seen that. I think that would have been great for the legacy of the film, but obviously you can't rewrite, at this point.
Mark, don't do it. Do not do it. Rest in.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Does anyone have any orange slices?
Let's keep it
Brian,
there.
Brian, I was faced with a challenge, but I handled it. Okay.
I don't have one anymore. It had to get over.
You don't have it?
It had to get overwritten for tonight. All right. Next one. Cap, Bucky, Tony fighting versus.
We know each other.
Oh.
Ooh.
5 heroes in 2 fights.
Ooh.
I'm going to say Cap, Bucky, Iron Man.
Correct. That is the correct answer.
Rob, please vote for Thor.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it's going to win, but again, I'm going by my own enjoyment. I love that Thor and Hulk scene so much more. Everything about it, the reveal, the way Loki is with the Grandmaster.
That's what makes it for me. Like Loki and just getting, I got to get off this planet, and that's how it feels like.
That whole thing. Again, the other one's so much more emotional. I love seeing all the characters fighting to their strengths and everything that comes out of that scene. But more enjoyable for me, the Hulk reveal.
Even though, again, if we're talking about things being spoiled in the trailers. It also gives us the great gif of Thor yelling, yes. I'm also going to cast a vote for Ragnarok, so it gets to the comments, which are winning right now for Cap, Bucky, and Tony. So we'll give that just a minute to finish up. I'm sorry, Mark, that I had to remove Trevor Slattery from my soundboard. By the time we record our next podcast, he will be back.
But I handled it.
That was awesome.
All right. It's looking like Cap, Bucky, and Tony are going to move on.
Wow. Okay. I mean, no wrong answer. That's a great scene.
Our phase 3, we have the 8 seed, the 13 seed, the 14 seed, and the 7 seed still left. So the 8 seed of Challenge Day from Black Panther versus Underoos.
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 I will cast my vote for Challenge Day.
Boo.
Easier to do when it doesn't have an effect.
That's what she's. Never mind.
Black Panther. All of you were wrong on the ancestral plane versus the Cap, Bucky, Tony fight.
Okay. I'll go first. I'm going to take the fight for that one.
Cap, Bucky, Tony.
Mark, you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. I think I can cast a vote of no confidence. So I think it's 3-0. So I'm just not going to vote. I'm going to abstain.
Wow. Wow, Mark. Wow.
I'm voting Black Panther, ancestral plane.
Oh,
that's
well,
I'm voting for.
Thanks,
Wow, okay.
bud. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thanks for putting me in that position. Cap.
Mark hasn't. Okay, so it's 2-1. Cap, Bucky, Tony. Mark Adams.
Cap. It's Cap.
I thought he voted. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. No, I voted Ancestral Plane.
Ding.
Underoos.
So that fight between Cat, Bucky, and Tony is now up against Underoos for the Phase 3 championship.
All right, we have so in the comments too, we're resetting the vote. So moving forward, every vote is either for Underoos or for Cat, Bucky, and Tony at this point moving forward.
Wow. Mark joked about this in our private chat about Underoos winning today, and I can't believe that these are the last two it came down to.
I'm a prophet. What can I say?
It won't win against the Avengers scene. I'm fairly confident in that fact.
Yeah, that last bracket's going to be nuts.
Okay.
Mark Valentine, Underoos versus Cat, Bucky, Tony.
Cap, Bucky, and Tony.
Mark Adams. Piano Rob.
Cap, Bucky, Tony.
I had a feeling you were going to pick that.
Dang.
And I think, I'm going to take Underoos. I don't think it's going to win, but I'm going to take that.
Brian's got a smile. Brian
he does. I don't know what
he's
Brian,
got some
I never-
Underoos on his
I
mind.
never know what Brian has the best poker face because I think he's mad at me all the time. Maybe he is. Maybe he has a terrible poker
Brian's
face.
got Underoos on his mind. Look at that smile.
So I'm also going to
All right. Run out of patience. Underoos!
I'm going to leave it up to the comments.
Okay.
I love Spider-Man. But I love Steve more, but that scene breaks my heart.
It's overwhelming in the comments, by the way.
Overwhelming in the comments. Cap, Bucky, Tony fight wins the Phase 3 bracket.
Wow, I thought that would be closer.
Let's keep it moving. I'm going to play a video while we're here for a reminder as to why it's the number 1 seed in the Avengers bracket. This tracking shot that is 45 seconds long, everybody kills. And by the way, Portals is the name of the championship game because Portals is not involved in this bracket because if it was, we all know what would win. So the 1 seed, maybe it doesn't deserve to be the 1 seed, but it's the honorary. It's the Duke Mike Krzyzewski final year, going to be a 1 seed no matter what because of just what it means and how cool it is and the fact that it ends with with Hulk punching Thor off of the Leviathan when they go into Grand Central Station. This scene is incredible. It is the 1 seed, and it is going up against the scene from Age of Ultron when they are all trying to pick up Mjolnir, and Steve makes it wiggle just a little bit.
Oh, Hulk.
I love that scene. That tracking shot scene is amazing. So, Rob, the tracking shot versus everybody trying to pick up Mjolnir at the party.
I do love the Mjolnir scene. It's a fun scene. But when Avengers came out on Netflix, I think I watched it every single night going to sleep. That's what I put on in my bed for months until they took it off Netflix. And for that scene is one of the main reasons. That's one of the first time they really come together. Beautiful scene, the tracking shot. I'm going with that.
When Iron Man launches his repulsor ray off of Steve's shield, oh man, it's so good. Mark Adams.
Tracking shot. It's easy.
Mark Valentine.
Tracking shot. Dominated.
Clean sweep. Moving on to our next one, the 8 seed of Wanda telling Thanos, "You took everything from me," and picking him up and picking him apart, versus Hulk versus Veronica in Age of Ultron of the Hulkbuster versus Hulk in the streets. I will immediately cast my vote for Wanda Maximoff, as much as I love Veronica.
So would Ethan if he was here. I love the Hulk versus Veronica scene. I do love it. And even though Wanda's just a little too emo for me in that scene's super powerful. And she would have taken Thanos out in that scene if they didn't start raining fire down. So I am also going with the Wanda Maximoff scene.
Mark Valentine.
Wanda Maximoff for the win.
Oh. Mark, you don't even have to vote. What would you have voted?
Hulk.
Really?
I like it.
Yeah.
He just likes Veronica.
Dude, I love you tonight. I'm feeling
the Hulk scene. You get to finally see we got to see Incredible Hulk, but you didn't get to really see a Hulk moment. And finally in Ultron, we got a Hulk moment, and I like go to sleep. Like I think that scene is just so good.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Wanda does move on from that one. The 5 seed of Tony Stark's funeral at the end of Avengers Endgame. versus
Hey, Peter Parker. You got something for me?
that. I will say the female team up scene of Okoye, Black Widow, and Wanda in Avengers Infinity War, I think is much more natural and is a much more powerful scene than the Avengers team up that we got of female Avengers in Avengers Endgame. I like what they were going for, but it did fall just a little bit flat for me personally. Mark Valentine.
I am going to go with the female team up. I just from the standpoint of, remember, we're not voting for the best scene as much as it's our favorite. Guys, I can't watch that funeral scene like that. Again, it chokes me up. I love me some RDJ. That scene chokes me up. It really I don't like watching that scene. I just don't like watching it.
Mark
This is easy. Funeral scene.
No,
It's not forced. It's beautifully shot. Seeing the natural emotions from everyone and seeing that natural confusion look on Tom Holland's face because they wouldn't tell him what they're filming.
I hope that that's true. They told him he was showing up for a wedding when in reality, like it was like I hope that's true.
I think they told the whole cast that. They all thought they were doing a wedding scene.
And then when the whole theater was into it and everybody's heart is breaking, but then everyone goes, "Who's that guy by himself that nobody knows?"
Harley Keener from the kid from Jurassic World.
From Iron Man 3, everyone's like, "Oh, that's him? Okay." Yeah.
There was a bunch of people that was like Tony Stark's real life kid or Robert Downey Jr.'s real life kid. I don't know. Okay, so we got 1 and 1.
Okay. First of all, I agree with everything you've all said. I do agree the female team up was slightly forced. Like they're all suddenly there. The funeral scene, beautifully shot, very emotional. But Peter Parker turned into Captain Marvel saying, "Well, I don't know how you're going to get it through all that," and then they're all there. I still, as unrealistic as that moment was in there, I'm still gonna go. I'm gonna go female team up.
He must have not seen her fly through Thanos' entire ship to ask how she can't get it there. But
Hey, Peter Parker. You got something for me?
I am going to leave it up to the comments because I am also voting for Tony Stark's funeral.
Okay.
The "I love you 3000" that follows at the end is it is probably the most iconic line that came out of the Infinity Saga. Definitely one of them. I don't like how overused it is now, but that is what it is. We got funeral, female, funeral. Funeral moves on by a tiebreaker in the comments.
Huh?
Moving on to the Thanos snap at the end of Infinity War versus Coulson's death in Avengers. The bloody trading cards. I will vote for the snap right off the bat.
Snap right out.
Snap.
Oh, I'm with you. Snap's a bigger deal. Like, of course, I hate seeing Coulson die, but come on, man. That snap was possibly one of the most heartbreaking moments. That was a villain won at the end of the movie, man. That's the snap.
Bryan, you should have gone for the head.
So should Coulson. If he would have went for the head, maybe.
I do like when Coulson's dying and he looks at Loki right away and just says, "You're gonna lose." Like, oh man, like Coulson's belief in the Avengers is really, really cool. I love Agent Coulson, but the snap is Luke, I am your father of this generation. Like it's one of the most powerful movie scenes ever. Like people walked out of that movie feeling, what the heck just happened?
We lost. Yeah.
I'm going Coulson's death. I love the scene. I have those cards. I love the score track for it. It's called It's Alan Silvestri, Coulson's death.
All right. The 6th seed, Hawkeye's speech to Wanda in Age of Ultron, saying, "You can stay here like a scared little kid. There's no shame in that. I will send your brother back to find you. But if you walk out that door, you are an Avenger." Versus the 11 seed, the birth of the Vision, and Thor coming in and giving it the power to happen, and ending with Vision capitalizing that by lifting Mjolnir in front of everybody. Rob.
All right. The "you walk out the door" scene, one of Hawkeye's best scenes, I think, in the entire MCU. It absolutely great scene.
The best.
The birth of Vision, though, the fact that it goes all the way to him lifting Mjolnir is what put it over the edge for me when we were talking about it. Because you got to remember, they had that scene where nobody could lift Mjolnir, and here's this moment. Well, how do we know we can trust this thing that Tony created? And he very simply he proved it. I mean, you can't just lift this thing up like it's nothing. Like it's not. You can't do it. I mean, I guess I can.
I love
Vision for me.
The Avengers of Age of Ultron. But if you put the hammer in an elevator, it'll still go up. Not worthy. Mark Adams.
I think either scene in the previous matchup would have beaten these for me. I'm gonna go. I feel like Clint gets no love, so I'm gonna go walk out that door.
Deservedly receives no love. Go ahead, Mark Valentine.
I'll be quick with this. Birth of Vision for me.
Vision for me as well. He wins in the comments too. All right, next one. Moving on. Thor's arrival in Wakanda versus the battle scene of.
You guys are so screwed now. Bring me Thanos.
There's nothing better, man. Oh, but the battle on Titan is cool. Like, you throw another moon at me and I'm gonna lose it. But I mean, Thor's arrival in Wakanda, hands down for me.
Easy.
Well, I had a real grip on the Battle of Titan, and then Chris Pratt screwed it up.
Ooh.
Who's the real villain?
There was one way that they won in 14,605,000.
By Chris Pratt screwing it up.
Nope. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
This one's easy for me too. Thor arriving in Wakanda is one of my favorite, if not my. It might be my favorite in all of the MCU.
Yes.
This is going to get difficult in just a little bit. So Stephanie's coming at me for hating Hawkeye and the Beatles. That is.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you.
You hate the Beatles?
Yep.
No, hate is a strong word. I don't understand the hype.
Bryan, I just want you to hold my hand as we get you some help. Maybe if you just had some Sgt. Pepper on Life More, you would enjoy it. This long and winding road, Bryan, we'll get down it.
Wow. It's one of the only other things I have back there. It's Cap, Shield, and the Beatles. Like that's
in the Battle of Wakanda, when they open up the barrier and everybody comes running in, and Steve and T'Challa run ahead, showing everything. Anthony says, "Where did you get that Ahsoka behind you?" That was hand painted by my wonderful wife for Christmas.
Wow,
she's the best.
You can have one too for the low price of $450.
Yes, Stephanie.
So that scene of Steve and T'Challa running ahead and just the start of that entire battle, the E-Bombay and all that, versus, now don't laugh too early because there's one sound on the end of this that is very much worth listening to.
Puny God.
When Loki wheezes after Hulk beats the crap out of him and utters puny God.
Oh, Amanda. Ooh.
Amanda just came at me hard. Loves Trevor Slattery and Justin Hammer and hates the Beatles. You are absolutely correct. For me, I'm putting puny God in this one. Mark Valentine.
Steve and T'Challa. That is another iconic moment.
So cool. It's
running into battle. Yeah, that's so cool.
When they're Rob.
Both great moments, but watching Hulk whip Loki around and then watching Loki's reaction to Hulk for the rest of the MCU because of it, I'm going puny God.
Mark Adams.
Hulk out.
Do you guys remember like how long it took to even hear Puny God in the theaters because everybody was just laughing so hard? It took till my third rewatch probably before I ever even heard it. Yeah, that's what Patrick is just saying. Like there was so much laughter. All right, Puny God moves on. The Loki wheezing at the end is my favorite part.
Look at Amanda.
Yes, Raymond Holt.
You do have Raymond Holt, and that's what's saving you. Okay.
I've never been happier.
Yes. Okay. So the 2 seed of Captain America lifting Mjolnir for the very first time against Now, this one is in there because I love it, and I have a sound to explain why Steve pays Fury $10.
The world has got even stranger than you already know.
At this point, I doubt anything would surprise me.
$10 says you're wrong.
Nick Fury says that, and then they step onto the helicarrier, and Steve just nonchalantly opens his wallet and gives Fury $10. And if you're not paying attention, you're never going to see it, and it's amazing. But Cap lifting Mjolnir is, for me, the number one scene in all of this, Portals not included.
Yep. There are two pure Marvel moments when Cap lifts Mjolnir for the first time and Thor arriving via the Bifrost on the battlefield. Like, those are the moments that you just audibly yell at the screen, and like you're there emotionally, you're invested, and you're there. Like, those are it.
Anybody voting for $10?
No, funny scene. I love it. It fits perfectly, but of course, one's way above the other.
Yeah.
I was actually really upset because I was one of like maybe 3 people that laughed at that scene the first time I saw it. I was so upset. I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, hammer time.
Mew mew.
All right. The tracking shot from Avengers 1 versus Wanda Maximoff telling Thanos that you took everything from me.
Did he though? Did he?
Oh.
Yeah?
I thought that meme was funny, Mark.
Tony, yeah. Think about it. I like that meme. Tony killed her parents. Ultron killed her brother. He just destroyed her like love toy of a robot. Did he take everything?
Mark's going to his red room.
Tracking shot versus Wanda Maximoff. Anybody voting for Wanda Maximoff here?
No.
Not anymore. Not against the whole Avengers.
Listen, don't set her off. She'll go to an alternate reality and torture an entire town full of people.
Did you not make fun of her? Like, just
Ethan is like really upset right now wherever he is.
No, I think even he would have picked the tracking shot over that.
Tony's funeral versus the Thanos snap.
Okay.
Now, remind you, Mark, you said you will not watch the funeral, but you'll watch the snap how many times over?
I will.
All right.
I will. I mean, but there's a lot more than just the devastation of the snap. There's a lot of stuff that precedes it, that you realize like how powerful he is in that moment. And even at that height of power, like he could have been beaten by Thor if only you had gone for the head.
Yeah, everybody blames Star-Lord. Nobody blames Thor. Like, Thor had to get in that last jab for telling Thanos that he would pay for that. Rest in peace, Heimdall. Mark Adams.
Rob, go.
I mean, honestly, this one's easy for me. That snap is just so epic. And as a musician, I've snapped a lot and never did anything like that. So I'm going with the snap.
I always feel bad for leaving Mark Adams to go last, and every time I pick him to not go last, he always just defers to Rob anyway.
He wants to hope that his vote won't matter, so he can just speak his heart and then go on as the.
Yeah, Bryan, what are you going to vote for?
I already put the snap on the level of "I Am Your Father" as what got people talking.
This is true.
From a pop culture moment, I don't think that there's anything bigger that has ever happened in a pop culture moment since 1980. From that standpoint.
Right. Well, my vote won't matter, so fine. Fine.
Well, don't mope. I mean,
so were you picking the funeral? Does that mean?
Markie Mark, I love you 3,000, dude. Go with your heart.
I love the funeral. The snap. Don't get me wrong. The snap is a great moment. But I think, so here's the thing. I think if the scene was, now if I'm wrong, tell me. I think the scene of Wanda trying to blow up the stone while everybody is trying to slow down Thanos up until Thor throwing Stormbreaker, that everything before the snap, I think would win the funeral, but just the snap moment, I'm like, oh, where he's like, you should have gone for the head. That moment doesn't blow me away more than the funeral. So everything before
where appears and Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. I don't want to go. Oh, dude. All right. Like, I'm to each their own, but the snap, like, it took until Black Panther snapping away before I came back to reality of, okay, this isn't going to hold.
So that's what I guess I'm trying to understand. Now, if it's the snap is for me, Thor holding Stormbreaker right here, and Thanos is like, should have gone for the head. Nah. And then that's the end of that.
Why'd
scene.
you do that? Why'd you do it like Edgar from Men in Black?
Oh my God, thank you, Rob. That's what I was going for. Oh,
Well, that's exactly what you did.
Anybody have some sugar water?
Anybody hosting an intergalactic
and sugar.
Sugar water. Okay. But no, Snap is from Snap and everybody disappearing.
Funeral scene.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's go.
Okay.
Nah, girl.
The birth of Vision against Bring Me Thanos from Thor. I'm not even going to go around the circle because Bring Me Thanos. Thor's arrival in Wakanda.
Thanos.
Puny God.
Puny God.
Versus the first time when Captain America lifts Mjolnir and he wields the lightning and everything.
Yeah, it's not fair anymore, but
Yeah, when you want to talk about not fair, we are down to it was quite upset city in phase 3. We are seeds 1, 2, 3, and 4 left in the Avengers phase. We are going to go with the 4 seed of the snap that we just talked about versus the tracking shot, which I will again add to your screen for your enjoyment.
Bryan, I'm ready for this. You can pick me on this. I got it.
Go ahead, Mark.
This shot right here. Oh, wait. Wait, which way am I pointing? No.
The repulsor ray off of the shield.
This one. The tracking shot.
Yes. Okay.
Tracking shot.
Mark Valentine.
I'm gonna go with the tracking shot, which is it's just more enjoyable. It's more fun. It's more fun to watch. The snap is a bigger moment. But this was the first time that you get to see them working together. Like this is another early on in the MCU. This was me yelling at the television, going like, "Yes, I was all in. I was invested in the scene."
Rob,
tracking shot.
Tracking shot.
I'm with you. Tracking shot 100%.
Right. I didn't think that was going to happen, so that's good to see. All right, and number 3.
You guys are so screwed now! Bring me Thanos!
Versus Steve picking up Mjolnir for the very first time.
This is the real fight for me. This is the real option, let's say.
Yep. This is the championship for me personally. Mark Valentine.
So when Captain America wields Mjolnir for the first time, it's an iconic moment. It's got a lot of emotion. I screamed out loud in the movie theater. I know that you guys are high on the portals, and the portals were amazing too. But for me, the real star of that scene was when he wielded Mjolnir for the first time, and you get Thor's reaction off of that. And then you see him take it to Thanos. Like you were in it. You were in it at that moment. Which is why I've got to go with that. Like that to me was a bigger moment. And I could go either way. And like, if it was tomorrow, I might go with Thor. The thing is that Thor moment it's equally awesome, but he ultimately does not win the battle in that moment. And so I can't go with Thor. I'm sorry, Thor. I love you. I got to go with Cap on this. But I don't love it.
Yeah, to not be overlooked in the Thor scene is like right before it when Eitri is Thor or Tree, I can't find the handle, and Groot like using his Groot abilities to put Stormbreaker together, and just the lightning coming out of Thor's hand, the Bifrost. They're like the Avengers are going to lose.
Listen, it's awesome the way that Mark is our music guy here. He loves to talk about the way that scores are incorporated into what's going on visually, the way that the Avengers theme is used in that moment when Thor arrives via the Bifrost it is incredible. It's just pure Avengers and pure Marvel joy.
So, Bryan, are you saying though when they're building Stormbreaker, that's included in this?
just right, like what gets them there. Like
I think
Because
just saying that plays into it for him.
Wait, was that scene included in the playoff?
no.
Oh, when he's like, the full force could kill you, only if I die. Yes.
Killing you mean
Oh.
that's Nidavellir. That's a made up word. Well, all words are made up.
All words are made up. I'm gonna go. Okay, so let me ask you this: Endgame, with Thor picking up Mjolnir, is Assemble included in this or no?
No, I would.
Then I'm gonna go Infinity War.
You're going with Thor's arrival in Wakanda. Yeah,
That music hit me and took me out,
Yeah.
and I think it like. I think that scene is one of the pivotal scenes that shows why Infinity War was a better movie than Endgame.
the second Mjolnir showed back up on screen in Endgame, I knew it was going to happen. And you see the hammer fly out of Thor's hand and it land there. And then it gets picked up off the ground. And I stood up in the movie theater and I was shaking the guy in front of me, who I did know, by the way. I was just so excited.
Yeah.
We've got a vote for Thor from Mark Adams. Mark Valentine went with Steve picking up Mjolnir. That is my vote as well. Rob?
Ooh, all right. Both great scenes. There is only 2 scenes in all of Infinity War that make me feel good, and this one is the one. At this point, Thor has not been on Earth since Age of Ultron. Nobody's seen him. They're getting their butts whipped. He couldn't summon the Bifrost because he destroyed it. And then this weapon is powerful enough to summon the Bifrost. And the movie would have been over right there. The fight would have been over if he didn't come into Wakanda. And then that has my vote. Go to the comments.
Anyway,
We have to go to the comments. So
we
everyone
have to go to the
is
comments and everybody's listening to us. Nobody's cast their vote on this one
yeah,
yet.
no one has cast their vote. See, it's not easy to do. They're like, we don't want to vote this time around.
These are epic scenes.
Yeah.
This is truly just your favorite. But that Thor moment gets me every time. And then you got, having Rocket and Groot there showing up. It just
Can I
I'd like to introduce you to my friend Tree.
Can we just fast forward just as a
I am
comment?
Steve Rogers.
This is in my opinion, this is the winner against that tracking shot. I'm sorry to say, like, I know that I'm probably deflating the next round's matchup. To me,
Robert, real quick to tell you, it's Thor's arrival in Wakanda versus Steve picking up Mjolnir for the first time.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mark.
No, this is the championship. The tracking shot is really great and it's fun. This is the championship right here for me, in my opinion. Whoever
and
wins,
they're both emotional scenes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're action and emotional. They're both against the same, for the same fight theoretically against the same villain, even though it's not the same.
Thor is out to a big lead right away with 4.
Thor's winning. Thor's going to win.
Thor is up 4-0. It looks
Thor
like
win. There was a vote from Stephanie for Cap, but
Wow, I'm so Thor it if Thor wins.
And you know what else is interesting? This is a moment where I really feel for Thor. Not that I'm saying Steve isn't. Thor is at his best at this moment because after this, he turns into the fat guy, and we haven't seen him since the end of Endgame. This is like the peak of him really being the best of Thor that we've seen so far in the MCU.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Other than not going for that.
Man, like I know people in present company included get really difficult on Thor, but like in Endgame because they make fun of him for being lazy. I believe the direct quote is "Homeboy is lazy."
Homeboy is lazy.
But no, like I think the story that they tell in Avengers Endgame with Thor being in that depressive state, letting himself go, but the sheer joy that he has of still being worthy to wield Mjolnir when he's feeling down on himself and has been feeling down on himself from 5 years. I think that is the best story that they could have possibly told around Thor in there. I think from that standpoint, I'm really curious just to see where it's going to go from here. I do love Lebowski Thor.
I'll tell you where it's going to go. Have you seen the pictures of him from the set? He is cut.
Absolute pythons on his arms.
Well, he's going to be playing. He's going to be playing Hulk Hogan in a biopic, not a biopic. In a biopic.
It is biopic. Yeah. So I mean, he's going to get back in shape, but I think the story that they tell in Endgame, but like you said, Rob, that is the height of Thor, and you don't get that story meaning as much if you don't have this scene in Wakanda and seeing Thor at his greatest powers. I don't hate that Thor eliminates Steve, I'm surprised by it. So
I don't hate
I'm
it.
surprised by it.
Is anybody taking Thor's arrival in Wakanda over the tracking shot? I think everybody's picking Thor.
I'm taking, this was the, like I said, that was the determining round for me. Nothing would be either one of these in my mind.
Mark Adams.
Can I see the tracking shot again?
Oh, stop it. You've seen it a million times.
It's good.
You might as well keep. He's going to ask you to see it again in 45 seconds against Underbirds, too.
It's good. I'm not.
The other good news is I'm removing it from him because I'm also picking Thor's arrival in Wakanda. So
did you not like my sound effects? Is that why?
Yeah.
Pew, 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 pew.
It's an audio medium for some people, so they can't see what we're seeing.
Oh yeah, sorry, true. Sorry, everyone listening at home.
Smell what I'm smelling.
Okay. He killed my mom, Cap, Bucky, and Tony versus.
You guys are so screwed now. Bring me Thanos.
It wins, right?
For me, it does, but I'm going to watch you Captain America buffs go crazy over it.
Oh, I voted against Cap, Bucky, Tony fight even in round 1. So,
bring me Thanos is the clear.
Yeah, bring me Thanos.
Rob?
Yeah, Thor, 100%.
Bring me Thanos versus the Guardians of the Galaxy Escape from the Kiln. Our winner of Phase 1 and Phase 2. We are crowning the best MCU scene ever. Bring me Thanos versus the Escape from the Kiln. I'm going to need that guy's arm. We will give everybody their chance to give their final piece, and we'll start with Mark Valentine.
They're two completely different tones. One is very comedic and light, and it's very chaotic. Bring Me Thanos is, in many ways, it has a clear benefit of being it's a culminative event rather than just being a set piece in a really great movie. That Bring Me Thanos movie it's another payoff moment. It's kind of unfair. The Avengers bracket has the unfair advantage of those films are usually the payout of all of those individual character movies.
That is why the 16 Avengers ones had to be separate.
Yeah, I mean, it is an unfair advantage, but that said, it's a better scene. It's a better scene. If you had never seen any other movies, it would still, the way that the music hits you, the way that it's filmed, his arrival with Rocket on his shoulder, Groot popping up, Mark Ruffalo exclaiming, "You guys are all screwed now!" Like, it's a great moment in cinema. Thor, for me, is the best scene in the MCU, hands down.
Mark Adams.
The Guardian scene wasn't even in my final 4, so this is pretty easy for me.
All right, Rob.
I'm seeing a common denominator that Rocket and Groot show up in our favorite scenes of the of the MCU. Listen, we did our bracket of favorite MCU movies at one point, and Infinity War 1, 2, and this scene was a big part of the reason it won when we discussed that. So it doesn't shock me. It actually is, I think, my favorite scene, like I said, in the MCU. So somehow I'm always really happy how these brackets turn out.
I voted for Cap lifting Mjolnir. That means more to me personally, but I can completely understand why Thor won, and I am very comfortable in voting for Thor's arrival in Wakanda as our ultimate champion, gentlemen.
You guys are so screwed now! Bring me Thanos!
A rightful winner of the Marvel Madness Best Scenes of the MCU bracket. Gentlemen, I am exhausted.
Yep.
Nice job, guys.
Well, eat your Wheaties and get some sleep because we got a new TV series to go for a couple months now.
Perfect. You led me right into it. Returning next Monday night at 8:30 Eastern Time, it will be the four of us discussing episode 1 of Loki. Come ready to discuss. We will tell you what we know, what we don't know. There's going to be plenty of both, hopefully. It's going to be very, very exciting. The spoiler-free reviews of the first 2 episodes are out, and this show is getting rave reviews. People really, really like it. I'm excited for it. I've got to figure out how to live life for a Wednesday drop. It's going to be pretty weird. Mark Valentine, what do you got going on in this Diz Life land?
So this week at This Diz Life, Dwayne and I are going to do a new series called Legends of the Magic Kingdom, and we're going to visit 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Kirk from Walrus Carp, a Disney historian, is going to be joining us, and the 3 of us are going to wax poetic about the ride and what became of the ride, where it came from, the inspiration behind it, and some of the cool Imagineering that went on that made it so magical.
Walrus Carp Clothing Company. All right, Mark Adams, what do we got going on in United We fan world?
We just finished our Nickelodeon 90s episode where I think Bryan and I will have we won't mean to go and have some hot takes. One spoiler, we forgot about Clarissa Explains It All. We do apologize. Here's the shout out for it. I know, I'm sorry. Also, I got to give a shout out to the man who looks like still amazing at almost 80. Harrison Ford is on the set for Indiana Jones 5, and I'm there for it.
Indy, cover your hip.
Rob, what do you got going on this weekend?
First of all, it's also Universal Studios' 31st birthday
Yes.
at Nickelodeon. So happy birthday, Universal Studios.
Yeah.
I got 4 shifts at Boathouse this weekend. Friday night, Saturday brunch, Saturday night, and Sunday brunch. And I'm at Tin Roof Sunday night. So a lot of piano playing for me this weekend.
Perfect. Well, gentlemen, for the children.
For the
For the
children.
children.
Children.